Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow.
Welcome to the Ducati Dads.
All right, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to discuss brake safety and the importance of maintaining your brakes.
Let's talk about that. When we were down in Vegas at the AIM Expo, we met with Robert from EBC Brakes. And after talking with us, he wanted to go ahead and send us these brakes for us to test on our bikes.
So how important are brakes? All right, so let's talk about the overall experience here with doing the brakes on these bikes, because I feel like we hit some challenges, some roadblocks, some things we should have known but didn't think about, and I feel like maybe it was a bit more of an adventure than it needed to be, and I don't want our footage to scare anybody away from trying this themselves, because at the end of the day, it's very approachable if you're mechanically inclined.
When we started on Freya, there was something that we didn't think about, and that was important. It was a little bit important. It was something that we want to highlight so that you, the viewer, if you go and tackle doing your own brakes yourself, you don't make the same mistake we did. We're not too ashamed to go and admit it. It's embarrassing.
Actually, we'll go ahead and interrupt the montage and put the clip right here of Freya almost falling over because we used a front stand without stabilizing the rear with a rear stand.
Yeah, so when you go to do your front brakes, make sure that you've got the rear on a stand and the front on a stand. And be very cautious when you go and pull your axle out. Make sure you do it slowly, because what's keeping it on the stand is your front forks. And when you pull that axle out, it allows the forks to release a little bit, and that is what caused it, as well as now each one is acting independently of one another.
We both made the same motion.
Yeah, so what I suggest and what we did was we took a car jack with a piece of wood on the bottom of it, put it underneath the oil pan, and we jacked it up to give it a little bit of support in the middle. Because we are essentially working on the bikes in our garage or my patio, we don't have the fancy shop stands that they use at a shop that supports the bike from the middle. Now, that is something that going forward we are going to look into getting. But as your backyard mechanic, patio mechanic, garage mechanic,
shady tree mechanic,
do-it-yourselfer, that is something that we want, if you watch this video, that we want to make sure that you know. Now, some of you who are more experienced are going to be like, oh, you guys are a bunch of idiots, whatever. It's learning. Yeah, you got to learn one way or another. Thankfully, Freya was not injured. Nobody got hurt in the incident. We both bear hugged the crap out of the bike as soon as she started falling over. But that is our big lesson takeaway, as well as making sure that you have all your tools that you need. But there's always going to be something that comes up that you weren't expecting.
I mean, when you're a backyard mechanic, it's not a project without a trip to the auto parts store, right?
So there are two things that make something a project.
Blood?
One is blood, which ironically Mike cut himself on, what was it again?
It was a paper cut from opening the package.
It wasn't anything even remotely exciting, but we got blood. And two is multiple unplanned trips to the parts store for things that you might think you have at the house, and you just don't. Like, we needed a new supply of Loctite. We
had to go to the parts store for axle grease, Loctite, a
T55.
T60.
T60. We needed another tool. All right, now here is 45-0 with a brand new EBC brakes. We are hot. Okay.
I mean, I know I am, but
All right.
it's pretty important to maintain your brake. There were some notable differences that weren't totally caught on camera. For one, it's very important that you inspect your disc brakes or your rotors and for signs of wear and malfunction, because Freya here has been running around with warped front rotors, and that was something that we noticed a huge difference after the new discs. When you get on them, it's a lot smoother engagement, it's a lot more predictable and stable.
All right, so one of the things I noticed when I did the brake test the first time was that when I'd get on it, I could feel the pulsation from the warped rotor. And even though it didn't dramatically change the stopping distance from before, this time I felt the ABS kicking in, and I could get on the brakes harder and harder and harder to where I felt like I was at max effort. And then the back end of the bike would start coming up. Whereas before, I'd get on them, and I could get on them pretty hard, but it allowed me to come on down to a stop.
That warp was just right, where it was like high pressure, low pressure, high pressure, low pressure.
Yeah, and I mean, and you felt it at the track.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was crazy noticeable at the track, because you could see it in the videos. In the video, if you go back to the track footage, you can see him getting on it, and then like you could see his arms moving as he's trying, and then it just causes him to go a little wide in the turns. So now another really important part of your brake system that you need to check is your brake fluid level, as well as your brake fluid color. You want to make sure that you're right in the middle between min and max. That way, as you're moving around, it's not dropping down below. And then your color.
I was going to say, you also want to keep an eye on the color of your brake fluid, because it's going to get darker over time as you add heats and pressure into the system, and you degrade the quality of the brake fluid that's in your system.
And even if you don't think you're using your brakes hard all the time, just it sitting or heat cycling will create moisture buildup within the fluid, which is why it's good to annually go and flush your brakes with fresh brake fluid.
Speaking of, Freya's about due for a flush.
Yeah. Motul, hit us up. So now the next item that you want to inspect every year, or if you go and do a lot of track time, would be your brake lines. You want to inspect them for cracks or leaks at the fittings, or sometimes I've seen right up here, you're not gonna be able to see it, but you've got where it attaches and what.
How important is it to inspect those brake lines, Tim?
Oh yeah.
How important is it?
It's super important, because
the first time that I rode this bike, the rear brake lines had melted and collapsed, and so I had no rear brake while learning to ride this bike.
Actually,
Brakes have been an adventure on this bike for me.
Yes. Yeah, but in my defense, I didn't ride that bike very often after I got this one. And the last person who rode it just prior to you, I'd asked him if he noticed anything. He didn't. But that was also a recall from Ducati for this bike, was the bolt that holds that up there.
But it does highlight how important it is to regularly inspect your bike and do proper maintenance on it.
So this is what I was talking about right here. This hose is just held on with a little clamp on it. And this is the same on most bikes. This line right here, because it's regularly exposed to heat, the sun, cold, elements, all of that, will go and break down over time and become brittle, and it'll start leaking. Down here, you want to make sure that this fitting on your going onto your brake caliper is tight and there's no fluid. You shouldn't see any wetness around this area.
Pad wear is another thing that you want to keep an eye on when doing a inspection on your brakes and trying to stay up with the maintenance. The thinner the pad gets, the less it's going to be able to transfer heat and dissipate that, and that's going to build up in the system, causing brake fade as you need your brakes more and more. That is something, and we'll put it up on screen. That is something that was going on with the rear brake on Freya, but they were paper thin when we swapped them out for the EBC. I think it terrified Tim when he saw them.
It did, especially seeing with how, like we said, the brake adventures on that bike. But this bike has got over 30,000 miles on it, and I mean, it's a 2018. You can easily check your front brake pads as well as your rear. You just got to stick your head on down in there. And typically, especially on these bikes, you can see it through the top pretty easily of the caliper. If you allow your brake pads to wear down, it's just the brake material and then metal. When it gets through the brake material to the metal, now it's metal on metal, and you are gouging your rotors to where you might have been able to reuse your rotors and just change your pads.
As far as your discs or rotors go, we had already mentioned that you need to be wary of warping your brakes, but there are some other elements that you need to look out for.
One of those would be any scoring or glazing on your rotors due to the heat cycles. So then you also want to check for any contamination, which could be caused due to leaks in your brake system from brake fluid dripping down onto the rotor or the pads, which
Axle grease, coolant, oil from the road.
All sorts of things. All sorts of things.
I can honestly say that I am exhausted after this adventure.
Yeah.
Lessons were learned.
Lots of lessons were learned.
But even though it was difficult doing the brakes for the first time, we cannot stress enough the importance of bike maintenance for rider safety. And we'd like to give a huge thank you to EBC Brakes for having sponsored us, sending us the brakes for both these bikes, and giving us the opportunity to represent their brand.
And we'll catch you on the next ride. That dude just totally jumped the fence.
Well, all right then. We don't have a camera pointed that way.
No. All right.
Our viewers people are gonna be like, "What are they freaking out about?"
Yeah.